Let's talk about weed, baby. Let's talk about weed, baby. Let's talk about all the things that we could possibly be. Let's talk about weed, baby. Let's talk about weed. For those of you who get that, who are still left and get that reference, that means that you're old enough to hear this conversation. Just came in from outside. Hi, my name is Gennine, and welcome to Indica with me. Indica with me is a progressive podcast where we talk about all types of things, but our major focus is medical marijuana, its derivatives like CBD, THC9, Delta 10, and chronic pain. And chronic pain. I started this podcast because I am a chronic pain patient and I use medical marijuana daily to help with my ailments, to help with my issues. I actually woke up this morning feeling like shit. So I thought maybe I would make a video. Since I'm like in the moment of feeling like crap. Let me tell you a little bit about myself, about my ailments, about how I ended up using medical marijuana. So, I grew up in the 90s. The access to weed was plentiful. Therefore, medical marijuana was not the first marijuana I have ever tried. But when people ask me, when did you start using marijuana? I actually don't remember. I don't remember using marijuana on a daily basis until after I became a chronic marijuana patient, chronic pain patient. Whew, that's all I do now. Okay, so I'm in the middle of having pain. I'm going to describe it a little bit. It is in my back, my lower back. It kind of feels like I'm starting to salivate because the pain is making me nauseous. So it feels like there's like a ball of pain, like right, like this would be like the top of my hip bones, and the ball of pain is all up and through here. But right in the very center, which will be my pendant right now, there's like a push, like a little, that like slowly and slowly and slowly gets worse and worse and worse until I start salivating, and then I feel like I need to take more medicine. Now, before I started smoking weed, when something like this would happen, I would, because believe it or not, I got weed before I got any type of real pain reliever. There wasn't like ibuprofen, or I think I had a low dosage of tramadol, but that took several years to get. So I would get in the bathtub as hot as I could get it and submerge my lower back, right? In efforts to keep the episode from getting really bad. Now, of course, hot water can't make pain go away. Therefore, sometimes those episodes would elevate to spasms. And if I'm just spasming, it's okay. It's when the spasms turn into vomiting, and then I can't stop vomiting, and it gets to the point where I'm like throwing up, stomach acid. And then from there, maybe my body will start, I'll start having diarrhea. Sometimes not, sometimes yes, but obviously diarrhea only adds to the possibility of dehydration, right? That being said, that's when I would end up in the hospital, was when we realized that I was getting a little dehydrated and I was going to need fluids. That is an emergency trip. Now, in the beginning, when the pain would get really bad and like I'm convulsing, unable to even stay in the bathtub anymore, I'm throwing up and I'm unable to sleep, and this happens for hours on hours, and we go to the emergency room and I'm not quite dehydrated yet, that means that the hospital is going to give me a little spank on the butt and send me out of there with a vomit bag in hand. Okay, they will watch me be wheeled out to the car with a vomit bag and an empty one for the hour ride home, right? Because I don't live in a place that has easy access to healthcare. And say, good luck, Chuck. So introduce marijuana, and when this pain starts to happen, I light up a blunt, and the smoking. The combustion of smoking introduces the marijuana, the medicine, to your body immediately. Therefore, your body gets the benefits of that marijuana, and you can already tell the difference in the way that I'm speaking now than the way that I was speaking at the beginning of this video. I'm not salivating anymore. I'm not having to stop to, keep down my nausea, right? And that's because of the weed. Now, is the pain gone? No. But did I have to get into the bathtub? Did I have to take extra medicine? Did I have to go to the ER? Did I start throwing up? No. Those things have already been subsided. That is the reason why I've started this podcast, because when I talk to people about medical marijuana, including my own therapist, which I love her to death, best therapist I've ever had. Also, she gets a little annoyed, I'll say, when I show up to a therapy session high, or not even high, smelling like weed, right? Because weed has a smell, of course. That's what it's known for. And she's like, she wants me to show up to the space unencumbered, right? So I can have this conversation about my pain, conversations about not being treated in the hospital, not being taken seriously, having conversations about just going through a pain episode. It's not only traumatic to your body, it's traumatic to your brain, your emotion. There's so much that goes into that, and then follow that up going to the hospital and being in obvious pain, and then the doctor's not treating you. These are things that you need therapy for. These are things that I need therapy for. And if I start having a episode like what I was just having, I don't see the point of me not being able to medicate, so I could be in a space to even have the conversation. But most of what we know about weed comes from stupid marijuana movies where I've never ever smoking weed and hallucinated. I know it's a possibility, but it has never happened to me. Also, that is not the reason why I'm smoking weed. I'm smoking weed so that I don't end up in an ER bed where I have to beg them for fluids, okay? that's another conversation about how Black people, especially Black women, are treated when they go to the doctor. We will have many conversations about that. But right now we're just talking about medical marijuana. So, yeah, that's why I started this podcast. I started this podcast because medical marijuana allows me to water my flowers, which I needed to do this morning. I needed to smoke just to go outside and water my garden. And actually, of course, it's an emotional topic. I know in a lot of ways I am blessed because I still have the ability to go outside. I still have access to all of my limbs. And also, in order to function this morning, I needed to smoke medical marijuana to go water my flowers outside. I needed to smoke in order to continue this video. And you're talking to someone who used to maintain 2 or 3 jobs, used to salsa dance, used to teach Zumba. Chronic pain strips people of their life. And the fact that we are having arguments over something that is obviously helping people because of politics, because of misinformation, because of nonsensical religious beliefs that aren't even based in doctrine or fact. We are telling people that they shouldn't and cannot use a drug, a plant that could help them maintain quality of life. So let's talk about a few facts. I'm reading a book right now about medical marijuana. I'm not going to show it to you right now. I'm going to talk about it in one of our segments, my segments called What the Book, right? Where we just talk about books and different authors and reading, because I love to read. And honestly, I would not recommend this book, but it does have some facts in it. Okay, let's talk about the drug itself, marijuana. Marijuana has been a controlled substance since the Act of 1970, passed in Congress, where the possession of cannabis has been illegal for any purposes, okay? Since then, marijuana has been considered a Schedule 1 substance, which means 2 things. It has a high potential for abuse, and it is not accepted for medical use, okay? This is federally. The reason why I am able to use marijuana as a medication is because Arkansas has passed a very detailed bill on medical marijuana and who can use it, what they can use it for, how it can be prescribed, who can distribute it, and because of states' rights, right? States are able to legalize something that has been criminalized federally, okay? But that is the reason why you can't travel with marijuana. You can't put it in your car and go state to state. You cannot put it on a plane unless you want to go to jail for drug trafficking, right? So that's one of the hangups. So I don't, one of the things I don't do very often is travel, right? Because I can't travel without medical marijuana. And I need medical marijuana on a daily basis. So I can do a little bit more travel now. Like in the beginning, before I was prescribed other pain relievers because doctors didn't believe that I was actually having pain, um, I couldn't travel. Now I have substitutions that I can use when I go out of town, but it was a long road to get doctors to believe that I was even having problems. Now, not only does the Schedule 1 keeps you from being able to travel with it, but it also limits the testing and the studying, medical studies that are allowed on marijuana. Um, Obviously, most of our medicine grants, including vaccines and even opioid testing, has been done through federal grants. Yes, our great tax dollars. And you can't get a federal grant to test heroin, right? Or cocaine. And since they are a Schedule 1 drug, just like marijuana, you're not going to get help from the federal government to prove that medical marijuana can help with chronic pain. Um, However, researchers have been able to obtain marijuana legally to study, but it has to go through the Health and Human Services, the FDA, and the drug enforcement agencies in order for it to be legally tested. So it's a lot of red tape. Doesn't mean it can't be done, just means that it isn't done often. And a lot of those studies are not peer reviewed, right? Which frustrating, right? You have a drug out here that is helping. In Arkansas alone, I think it's like 500,000 people. So it's helping at least 500,000 people deal with chronic pain, multiple sclerosis. There are so many others, arthritis, seizure issues, all types of ailments. But we can't study it because of what has been scheduled as a drug. Now, this can be rectified very easily. We just need a president to go into office and say marijuana is no longer considered a Schedule 1 drug. It only requires the president. It doesn't require an act of Congress or Senate. It doesn't even have to be voted on. Because at that point, you're still not saying that marijuana is legal. You are saying that marijuana is legal to study. That's it. And we haven't even had a president who is willing to do that, right? Which is beyond frustrating. And that is something that Biden ran on. And of course, that is a promise that he did not keep. But no. Actually, I mean, that's really all that I want to say about medical marijuana today. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more. I plan on partnering with some CBD stores and talking to other medical marijuana patients about how marijuana has helped them, how it has benefited their life for the better. Because it is an important drug. And there's a lot of information circling around there that's even put out as very official. I know about this stuff information, and we can't separate the good information from bad information because of the laws, because of lobbying, and of course, those who create pain relievers, even though they're harder and harder for people to get, even when they have real pain, do not want marijuana to be legalized. Why? Because I smoked that much of a blunt and was able to stop a pain episode. And I'm about to get up and go out and finish watering my plants. So if you made it this far, I just want to say thank you for listening. I hope that you will like and subscribe so you can hear more of what I have to say on this topic. And we have a lot more to talk about. So talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to Indica with me. Please like and subscribe and share.